Welcome to This Endorian Life, a Star Wars podcast from the Radio Meanwhile Network. My name is Steve Rudd.
I'm Nick Gunning, and this week our journey through Star Wars Vintage brings us to the Droids.
Droids. We are discussing Droids episode issue, because it's a comic, issue number 3, The Scarlet Pirate. This issue hit the stands on June 3rd, 1986. Actually, not too long ago. I can't do the math. It's many years ago.
Okay. It was a long. We can agree it was a while ago.
For
Less than
many
40,
years.
Yes.
Yes. Many.
All right. This issue was written by Dave Manek and illustrated again by the legendary John Romita Sr. This issue was collected by Marvel in the hardcover Star Wars Legends Omnibus Ewoks and Droids.
Yep.
Our featured creative today is Joe Sinnott. Joe serves as the inker for the cover and interiors of this issue, and this is his one and only contribution to Star Wars.
Oh.
Which is kind of interesting for it to just be a random issue of Droids. I assume his connections with Marvel and working with John Romita Sr. probably is how, it happened.
Yeah.
But interesting. He had a long career inking for Marvel, including on issues introducing legendary characters like Thor, Galactus, Silver Surfer, the Inhumans, and Black Panther. He continued to ink the Spider-Man Sunday strips until he retired in 2019 at the age of 92.
Wow.
And he died the following year in 2020.
Dang. 92.
92 and still inking. And to continue inking you got to have a steady hand, to do inking. And especially like 92, that's impressive.
I'm just going to say he did it all by hand.
I think for those Sunday newspaper strips, definitely, yeah.
Very cool, though. 92.
Yeah, agreed. I know.
Geez, I want to be on a beach sipping cocktails at 92, not like inking.
Yes.
But he probably loved it. That's the thing,
true.
It's his art, I guess here's the thing. You're right. They tell you to find something you love and then get paid for it.
Yeah.
So he went to work and just did what he loved.
Yeah.
And got paid for it.
Right.
Just like an artist would just do. So he just literally why would I retire when I go to work, I draw and ink Spider-Man, which is fun.
Yeah. And probably a pretty sweet gig too, because it's weekly and the Sunday strips are, 6 panels probably tops.
Yeah.
So it's not like, he's doing 30 pages or something. So yeah, pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Very cool. Yeah. All right. Well, should I bring us through this uber detailed plot?
I would love it if you would. Yeah, we had a whole text chain trying to figure out exactly what happened in this issue. So I'm on pins and needles to see if you sorted it.
We'll see if I fixed it.
Yeah, let's do it.
We'll talk about that. There was a little confusion. All right. The uber detailed plot of Droids issue number 3, The Scarlet Pirate. 3PO and R2 have been acquired by Ambassador Zell of planet Major and are immediately tasked with tutoring Zell's adventurous son, Les. They're very creative in naming.
Just reversing,
just completely reverse. Ambassador Zell leaves for a peace mission at the chagrin of Les, who longs for adventures like those of the Scarlet Pirate from the adventure program he enjoys. He ropes R2 and 3PO, literally, into playing with him, but suddenly the program is interrupted and notifies all of them that Rejak, the pirate, has been captured, and Les is stunned.
Yes.
Les heads out to save the pirate from captivity with R2 and 3PO hot on his tail to keep Les out of trouble. Les is successful in breaking Rejak free from prison droids, and the two of them escape on Les's ship with R2 and 3PO as stowaways. Rejak befriends Les, who complains about his father always being away, especially now at his peace mission. Rejak relishes the opportunity to plunder the peace mission convoy, and the two of them rendezvous with Rejak's impressive pirate ship. Literally a pirate ship. It was a pirate ship in space. Les quickly becomes part of the crew and believes all is well until the pirates fire upon his father's peace mission. Les protests, but Rejak reminds him of the complaints over his father. Thinking quickly with the help of the droids, Les gets to the weapons control room and incapacitates the operator. R2 immediately works to deactivate the torpedoes. Ambassador Zell and his crew look upon their doom, but suddenly the missiles detonate before they can do any damage. They hear a garbled distress message from Les and send a boarding party onto the pirate ship. Ambassador Zell finds his son Les captured by Rejak and his crew. Believing Zell to be nothing more than a pompous fool, Rejak tosses Les to the deck, hoping to distract Ambassador Zell. However, Zell is amazingly spry. He dodges and riposts Rejak's surprise attack, nearly incapacitating him completely. Rejak gives up, and the rest of Zell's security forces arrive to neutralize the rest of the pirate ship. Ambassador Zell is very happy his son Les is okay, but is furious at the droids for allowing things to get out of control. Les quickly informs his father that it was his own fault they got into the situation they were in, and that R2 and 3PO were pivotal in his survival. Disappointed they need a new master, R2 and 3PO both agree their short time with Les was worthwhile. Roll credits.
Beautiful.
And that's it.
Beautiful.
Two parts. Two parts.
Yeah, that's true. They're usually three structured, aren't they?
Yeah.
Interesting. Right away, I was like, well, this is just the plot to the movie Problem Child. Did you ever watch, Amy Asbeck and John Ritter, Problem Child?
I haven't, but this is been done in other things too, where like a child is turned against their parent.
Yes.
Because they're they took away their phone or didn't let them go over grounded them basically.
Exactly.
Classic.
It felt like that's why I kind of liked
right. Hook was like
true.
that.
Yeah, I liked how it kind of subverted what I thought was going to happen because I thought it was going to be bratty kid and babysitter, and finally they like reach this new understanding. But truthfully, it's the beats of the movie Problem Child. You got, I guess the droids would be the John Ritter role because he's like the stepdad that comes in, with the kid, and the kid is idolizing this villain in Problem Child. It's the bow tie killer who's played by Michael Richards, who is Kramer.
Oh, no way.
And he sort of goes along with this guy, and then he realizes, oh, this guy is bad, and I really should be with John Ritter. Exactly like Problem Child.
Exactly,
so I'm going to say Problem Child ripped off Droids number 3.
Did that come out first, though?
Yeah, Problem Child was 1990, so this is first.
Oh,
so
I think this has been done before, though, in
for
stuff
sure.
with, it's a classic story of...
It is.
What is that, Stockholm Syndrome?
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much.
Yeah.
R2-D2's insane coloring choices in this one is even more stark.
It's even worse. It's
odd.
So noticeable. It's like, wait a minute, what?
Yeah, it's like it's quasi. It's like 1940s kind of futuristic. It's like Metropolis style. It's very like rounded and I don't know, weird. I mean, they obviously have seen the movies and have seen what R2-D2 looks like.
Yeah, because C-3PO they got right.
Right. So like it's a choice, but I just don't understand what the choice is there. So I don't know.
I feel like if I'm the director or whatever they call the person basically in charge of continuity, like making sure everything's right, like wouldn't that person have like a rule that like it's about R2-D2 and C-3PO, so if you're gonna ink, they gotta be their colors.
Yeah.
Anyone can be anything else,
C-3PO also is maintaining like the visual style that he had in the cartoon. So it's not even like they're doing a new take on both of them. C-3PO just looks the same, and R2-D2 just totally different. So I didn't really get that, but I liked some of the things. Like I liked Les's bedroom. He had sort of like a globe thing hanging, and he uses a remote to turn it on. So that's like their version of a TV or something like that.
Entertainment
and this is where our confusion came in, because we both read it. If I'm right, we both read it thinking that he was like, must be watching the news, thinking all of this is real. But when we go through and really break it down, no, he is watching a show called, what is it? Like The Adventures
of the Scarlet Pirate.
And there's like a, we interrupt this program kind of thing coming in. And then you kind of realize, no, okay, so he's watching this show about a Scarlet Pirate while also kind of idolizing a real live pirate. Yes. And when the pirate gets captured, he goes to help and kind of falls in with the crew. And then I like how Les actually kind of becomes the Scarlet Pirate. Like he's doing the swashbuckling. He's kind of rescuing his dad. So that kind of flipped it on its head, because I got to say, I was very unhappy when I was like, oh, we're doing the be mean to the babysitter. Like I don't need that. Definitely you're meant to think that Rejak, like he looks like he would be the Scarlet Pirate. So
he would.
I think that's where some of the confusing comes in. But I felt like it was actually kind of had some depth to it, because the dad, who is an ambassador, is kind of dismissive in the beginning. And then later when he finds out his son is in danger, the dad rather than just making the dad like a doddering old ambassador, the dad like gets into it and kind of like beats up Red Jack, and the
Yep.
kid kind of sees, oh wait, is my dad cool? And the dad is kind of like, oh, are my priorities all screwed up?
Does
Like,
my kid not know who I am?
right,
Yeah, like
exactly.
right. He's like, wait a minute, you were part of the Space Rangers
Yeah,
or something like that,
yeah,
and he's just like, yeah, because he's like, oh man, I haven't done that since I was in the Space Rangers,
yep,
and like,
yep,
so it's just like, it's like your dad saying like, yeah, I haven't done that since I was a Green Beret, and you're like, what?
right,
You were a
right.
Green Beret, like, so then your respect level like increases.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was effective. I liked
Yeah,
that
I
aspect
did
of it
too.
where it was kind of just like that. I mean, it happens a lot, right? In movies and books where like that emotional danger situation kind of creates a relationship, right? That happens
Mm-hmm.
with like love stories, like
Yeah,
two people get together because they experience what the movie Speed is like the perfect example of that,
yeah,
right? Whether that relationship lasts or not,
yeah,
because it was born of that extreme situation.
right.
But yeah, like in this situation, like, one realizes, man, I haven't spent a whole lot of time with my son. And then his son realizes, oh, my dad is a lot cooler than I thought.
Mm-hmm.
And so for them, it's not like bringing them together, but the realization of what they have missed all this time. And
Yeah.
so I thought that was really cool. That kind of solidifies their relationship, which is in a cool way. I just thought it was cool.
Yeah.
I think I was disappointed that it was 2 acts. I could have used
Mm.
like a middle act or something in there, or a longer first act with him and his father, right?
Yeah.
And then the second act started with the whole droids tutoring him and getting into
Mm-hmm.
trouble, where like the first act was a little bit more of like, hey, dad, I want to do this. No, he can't, blah, 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 and this
Yeah.
and that. You got to be careful. Like at least developing somewhat of a relationship with them for us to base all this on,
Yeah.
where we kind of get like a 2 frames or a
Yeah.
frame or something where he's just like, yeah, this is dumb. And it's just like, well, we have no idea. Why is it dumb? Why do you think it's dumb?
Well, I think you're hitting on what is always the problem is that like there's never a central focus because again, it's not about the
Yeah.
droids. It's really about this father-son relationship, but like they have to give the droids some space. So we sort of
Yeah.
shorten what the actual story is and have a little bit more like droid hijinks. It's just unfocused,
Well, and the
But
droids really had no, you draw a circle of what the central
yeah.
theme is, and then you start drawing lines. The things that happen should draw directly to that. The
Yeah.
droids were a completely separate,
Yeah.
like their actions basically kept his father from dying,
Right.
which is pretty far out on
Yeah.
being pointing to the central aspect of the story, which is the
Yeah.
relationship between Zell
And
and Les.
And even that, I feel like their involvement's pretty oblique. I mean, they just kind
Yeah.
of sneak on board the ship to kind of watch out for Les, and then they break him free or whatever so that he can stop and warn
Yeah.
his father. So it's like they don't even do that. They just kind of, facilitate an earlier step. So,
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
it's been a consistent problem, I think, with all of the droids media so far. But on the
Yeah.
topic of problems, what's your Oak of Arc moment?
So for mine, everything it changed a lot. Mine was R2D2's color. That really bothers me. That like
Yeah,
that's a pivotal. It'd be like making Yoda yellow,
yeah,
and you're like, why is he yellow? He's
yeah,
Yoda. Like his thing is literally being green and small,
yeah.
and you got small but not green. So
Hmm.
it's just like that. That to me is another one of those things that's just like I don't know what the purpose was. I don't know if there's a
Right. I
reason.
know. I wish I could
There's
understand
obviously
it.
blue, but not the thing that should be blue. And so it's
Yeah.
just like, come on. And it's here's the thing. You're right. It has that. He almost has like a glass dome effect to him. Like he's very smooth. There's no
Yeah.
edgy. It's almost like he's got this aura about him because he's like blackish a lot of
Yeah.
the time.
Yeah. Well, and I think too, it's like if R2 was like a really unique shape, and the only droid that is that shape is R2D2, and so
Yeah.
it just by the silhouette, that would be one thing. But there's also lots of droids that have different
Yeah.
colorings that are not R2. So
R4.
it's just
Right.
R4. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah. And
So
it's like he looks chrome. The way that
he does look
they
chrome.
inked
Yeah.
or the colorized him, he has a
Yeah.
very chromish looking effect with red
Hmm.
and yellow highlights. All
Yes.
those little blue things that like flip out, like his little hands, those are all yellow, and
Yeah.
his blue square with the black eye is red instead
Yeah.
of blue. So it's very shocking, and it's also fully red. It's not even red with a black eye. It's just red with a red eye.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. You know what I thought of? I know we're still on my Oak of Arc. But remember when I complained about the Mandalorian and the pirate
Oh yeah,
in the 3rd season was literally like a pirate?
yeah,
Well, this comic, they've obviously done it before.
yeah. That's
So
true.
maybe somebody was like, well, I don't know. I read the comic way back
Yeah,
in the day, and they made a pirate look like a pirate. So we're going to make this guy look
yeah.
like a pirate too. So it was kind of like I guess in a way that justifies making the space pirate look like
There
a
you go.
pirate,
There's precedence.
And I'm like,
Sure.
oh, foot and mouth, I guess. But like,
Yep.
that's probably not what they were thinking.
Probably not. Probably just
But
thinking pirate. Let's make it fun.
let's make him look like a Pirates of the
Yep.
Caribbean guy. Yeah.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
because he'll be on both rides, right? He'll be on the Star
Yep.
Wars ride and he'll be in the.
Yeah, that's true. He can just double duty. That's great. Job security.
So, what was your Okavar moment?
I just don't like that they're like, oh, C3PO and R2, you saved us. That's so great. Goodbye. Like they just leave
Yeah,
them. They're like,
he
we're
like
gonna
corrects him.
yeah, it's like we're gonna spend more time together, so we're gonna go off, and you guys, just go to the junk heap or whatever. I just didn't get that at all. Like that just seemed just take him with you.
And
I
it
don't
didn't
know.
even say it, right? It didn't even say like you're done or you're
No,
through, you're
not
fired.
really. No.
3PO was just like, oh well, I guess we're
Yeah, we're out.
our time lasted. It's like, well, I mean, you can still. Like
Yeah,
R2 could serve drinks, and you can,
yeah.
like that's a weird. It was just weird the
It
way
was.
to end it. Usually, we do get that, like, yeah, we don't need you anymore, and then or they jettison themselves.
Yeah,
So it's almost like they don't. They get new masters, and they just cannot wait
I
to
know.
get away from them.
Maybe they're really afraid of commitment. Maybe that's what this is all about.
That's
So,
what it is. Yeah,
yeah, I think
that is
so.
a good Oak of Arc though, because it is just like,
Yeah, it's
wait,
just
that's
like,
how
well,
they
this
end.
is over, so I guess they're not going to be with them anymore.
Literally, one bubble would have solved that. Like, oh, we don't need your service.
Yeah, I mean, if they're going to do that every time, I would almost rather not acknowledge it and just we start and they have a new master, fine.
Yeah.
But to have every time it be like, well, we lost another master is just weird. And I'll go to my grave not understanding why they didn't just have a spunky kid who the droids pal around with in this
Yeah.
show. I just, like watch anything Hanna-Barbera and be like, yeah, that,
Yep.
just do that. Would have been great, but whatever.
Literally anything.
Let's go to what's good. What's your Ichiwawa moment?
I thought it was really cool that Ambassador Zell was cool, right?
Yeah.
That he was a space ranger, and I kind of already touched on the fact why I think that was very effective. I like that. I wasn't expecting that. I didn't know what I was expecting for the end. Kind of just was along for the ride. I didn't have any predictions of like, oh, this is where this is
Yeah.
probably going to go. It was very open ended, so they did a good job on that. But yeah, being cool was I thought, oh, perfect. Like that kind of does bring the whole thing together. He's not
Yeah.
a jerk. And it kind of solidified for me why Red Jack kind of threw Les to the ground in order to cause that distraction. That's kind of how I read that
Yeah.
scene where he did that, because Les basically gave Red Jack the impression that his father was dumb.
Yeah.
He was pompous. He was
Mhm.
stupid. He was boring. He
Yeah.
knew nothing. So Red Jack underestimated his father. Like, oh, this is literally what his son said he's like. So here's your son. You can have him back, and then use that situation to attack him. But it completely flipped on him, because Zell is not boring, pompous, oafish. He's a former space ranger. So very cool. I just for me, I was like, whoa, he's cool. Because I was reading it and I was going, whoa, he's just like beat the crap out of him.
I know.
And then
Yeah.
he said that, like, oh, I haven't done that since I was in the space ranger, like, and it was just like, oh, okay, cool. All right, he's cool. That's awesome. So
Yeah.
what about you?
No, I'm right with you. Mine was just kind of in general the twist, because I really you go for a good long while thinking we're just going to have a, the kid doesn't like C3PO, but by the end they come around and they have a new respect for each other. That's what I thought we were going to do. So when it kind of pivots, and the dad, I did not expect the dad to come back into play.
Yeah.
So, and it's perfect. We're recording right around Father's Day, and what a heartwarming Father's Day episode
That's true.
this
Yeah.
has turned out to be. But yes, all the things you're saying, the fact that like not only do we get some resolution with those characters, but it kind of changes your perception of what was going on.
Mhm.
And we got a kind of a switch midway through, and it's a very different kind of story than it starts with. And I feel like it was pretty effective overall.
Yeah, I think so too. How many yub nubs would you rate this one?
even with some of the good, I'm still going to give it 3.5 because I did have to read sections a couple of times to figure out some of those transitions and was just like, wait, what's happening? And I didn't really enjoy the bad babysitter section in the beginning. So 3.5.
Yeah.
You? What about you?
All this week I'd been thinking, what am I going to rate this? And I came to the conclusion the other day, solid 3.75.
Okay.
Solid. I can't
Solid.
give it a 4 because I didn't read this going like, oh my gosh, this one's so dumb. Like, when is this going to end? I did think, oh, this is part 2 and we're like resolving it. So I think if it had a part 3 and explored a little bit of the relationship between the father and son in the beginning better, I'd give it a higher mark simply because it would have felt better rather than, oh, I guess I'm just supposed to not like the father because the son thinks he's dumb.
Yeah.
So yeah, like 3.75. I'm confident with that. I was going to give it a 4 at one point, but I was like, no, it's just too confusing at some points, and that really for me pulls it down if I have to read it. If I have to read like 3 or 4 pages over and over again of a comic and still get it wrong, like maybe it would have been better to have been added an extra part to kind of explain what's going on a little bit more.
Rather than you and me having to have like a big murder wall with red thread being like, at this point, he says this. And at this point, would have simplified it. I'll tell you, I am excited about our next episode because we are finally, I feel like the whole like 3 years of doing this has been leading to this moment where we have the Droids Ewok crossover, Lost in Time, 2-part. So very exciting that we can come together and see. I don't know how they're going to do it, because how it gels with the movie or like how they contrive to get the two of them together. I don't know, but I'm ready.
Different, right?
I'm ready.
In tempo and in subject matter. I mean, Ewoks tend to be about the Ewoks. The droids tend to not be about the droids. So how is this going to work out?
I know they're not going to do this, but it would have been kind of clever if they had a story where it was just like maybe like Nisa and Latara are with the droids and like Wicket and Logray and the others that you see in the movie never actually interact with them to kind of preserve that they don't recognize, So I don't know. It'd be interesting.
That would be kind of cool. So
I don't think that's what's going to happen, but
no, that's like 3D chess level.
I have read this, but I haven't read it for decades, so I don't remember. Man. I don't remember what happens, but I am excited about it.
Will this be after? I'm going to assume then it has to be after the Return of the Jedi.
I don't know. We can get into the weeds of it. I don't know. We'll have to see.
Yep. We'll see. I'm sure that will come up. I'm sure.
Oh, definitely. Yep. Okay, but we'll find out next time. I'll see you then.
I'll see you then too. This Endorian Life was brought to you by the Radio Meanwhile Network. Other shows on the network include 9021 Here We Go, 90s Music Got Me Like, and previously on X-Men. Share your thoughts on this and upcoming episodes by following us on Facebook or X at Endorian Life. And please rate, subscribe, and share the show wherever you get your podcasts.